Good evening, Corinne Wiggins. Another appreciate you all checking us out. This thing, the main thing. I'm going to open us up in a brief prayer, and then we have a great segment, great gentleman. I think you all this evening, as you can see, Mr. Rod Tolen, and I just thank you. I thank you for. I thank you for your son. I thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Tolen and his story. Lord, I thank you for the individual that will check it out in the future. Lord, I just love you. We thank you. Amen. Amen. Absolutely. The glory stories. I appreciate y'all tuning in this evening. Man, Corinne, if you haven't like, subscribe, comment, turn on the notifications, stay tuned on what we're doing. I feel like it'll be a great thing. It's a give back opportunity just to, hey, share the gospel, some of the things that the Lord, how He relatively, and it's just an awesome thing. And again, I'm not going to take, as I mentioned, Tolen. I met through a mutual friend, man. So I'm very, very sharp brother. I think you all like some of the things that he's doing, as well as productive and blessed. Without further ado, Rod, how we doing, brother?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. How you doing?
Hey, man, I appreciate you joining us this evening, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I'm excited to have you, man. Just give the people a little bit of background about who you are, man.
Yeah. So yeah, my name is Rod Tolen. I'm originally from South Carolina, so always L's. Like I like to say, I'm just a country boy, man. Inland. I grew up in a small town in South Carolina called Batesburg, Leesville. I moved to Georgia as a teenager. My mom got remarried, so I moved to Georgia as a teenager and spent 5 years in Covington, Georgia. Graduated from Alcovey High School, and then after high school, I spent some time at Point University, which is a liberal arts Christian university out in West Point, Georgia. And so, yeah, man, I really just based my life around being, just a country boy, man. So I tell a lot of people all the time, I'm from the country. I live in the city and I work in the suburbs, So, I just live life, man, from a perspective of, slow motion, but still grinding, So that's kind of me. I grew up, very slow, hometown type style living, and football was really king where I'm from. And so as I've traveled, I've really explained to people how I view life was when I was growing up. You kind of made it out of my city one of three ways: in the military, um, or you went to college and played ball, or you worked in a warehouse, right? And so that's kind of like my mentality growing up. And so,
Blue collar.
being able to go, I grew up with like 5,000 folks, So, I moved to a city with like 12,000, 15,000. I'm like, ain't this a big city, I went from a town to a city, but they both still pretty small, still slow.
Right.
But yeah, man, that's me, man. I try to live with a zest for life, just because I believe a lot of people don't get to see people like me or where I'm from, or people, where I'm from. A lot of people don't get to experience people like me, right? So I try to live with a zest for life and really try to live, life to the fullest, honestly.
Dope, bro. Dope. Hey, man. Hey, country boy. I respect it.
Yeah, country boy.
I guess I ain't really too country. I don't think, but I guess I got that mixed hybrid. But I would people would say that I'm technically from the South, but
Yeah,
country as well.
yeah.
But
You're a Southern boy.
Yeah.
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 You're a Southern boy. I'm a country boy though. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? You know?
Yeah.
You know,
For
a
sure.
little different.
So tell me a little bit of the difference in that. Yeah, enlighten us on that. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, like, okay, so I live in the Midwest now. So I reside in Minnesota. I've been married for 4 years. And then we have two
Okay.
beautiful children, right? So I have a beautiful wife and two beautiful children. Up here, the country's a lot different. You see what I'm saying? Like up here, the country means rural, right? It's just that's farmland. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
2,000 folks, right? But the South, everybody already, if you're not from the South, then you kind of already have that mentality like, oh, everybody country. You know what I'm saying? A bunch of country bumpkins, everybody slow, right?
Right.
Like not intelligent people. You feel me?
Right.
So that's different though. The country here is rural, you're on the farm. Country at the crib, like that's just small town. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you got being from the South, which just means you grew up in a state that's in the South. But you could be from Raleigh, you could be from Atlanta, you could be from Tampa, you could be from Mobile. Like
Right.
it's still slow living, but bro, that's you could be from Columbia, you know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
metropolitan. You feel me? Y'all got 5-story buildings, you know what I'm saying? Like if you grew up in the city with 5-story, 6-story buildings, bro, like it's a
Yeah.
difference there,
Right.
Highest building 3 stories. You feel me? Highest building is the high school. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
that's a little different, bro. That's a little
No,
different. Yo, some of them
that's
people
true.
might have taught my mama. Some of my elementary school teachers, you know what I'm saying? Some of my elementary school teachers might have taught my mama, bro. That's how I be feeling sometimes. Everybody know everybody. You know, people
No,
know
that's
me
true,
just
man.
based
That
off my
is
face. Like, boy, you look like a Tolen. You know what I'm saying?
true.
That's different. City don't move that way.
What I like to call like just a quick get to know you. Call them quick hits. Like it's just three questions. Just to almost like brain teaser sometimes, or just to kind of see you test your wits. Just to see what's the first thing that come to mind when you hear the question when I ask it. All right. So the first question, just kind of just when you hear it, just your first response, just really three quick hits just to kick us off, man, and just kind of that little icebreaker. So number one, uh, where's your favorite place to vacation? If you could take a vacation,
Yeah, back to the crib.
back to the crib.
Yeah,
Okay, and where that's at?
the South.
South
Yeah, South
Carolina.
Carolina, Georgia. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
It's
okay,
peaceful there, bro. I mean, I can't even
okay.
explain the peace I feel when I step out of the car, bro.
No place like home, huh?
Man, it's beautiful.
Okay, I like it. Going back home. Okay. Number two, if you could be a superhero, who would it be?
Superhero, who would it be? Oh, Ray Lewis.
Superhero? You throw him in the superhero category? You would put him there?
Huh?
You throw him in the superhero category?
Yeah, he transformed, man. The superheroes transform.
Okay. So you just feel like what about him just make what about him? Yeah, because I mean he do transform, but he do transform, but what about him? Like what about him make him, a superhero?
Bro got superpower. When he transform, you feel me? Like when he do the dance, he turn, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
The dance transform into a superpower.
I see
You
your
feel
angle
me?
there. I got you. I get you that angle. Okay, thirdly, if you could do anything in the world opposite or outside of what you do currently, what would it be? From a career or a service standpoint, what would it be? Anything. What would it be? If you could do anything outside of what you do currently, you know, what job would it be?
Yeah.
Or what would you be doing? What would it be?
Yeah, bro. I'll be on the live tour. I think that's how you say that.
Live tour.
I think so, ain't it?
Okay.
The LIV, that European tour.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Doing what?
Golfing.
Golfing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I should
You
have
like to
golfed.
golf?
Oh yeah, I'm trying. Man, listen. I don't know your audience, okay, but let me speak for people who look like me. Get your
Okay.
kids into golfing.
Okay.
Get your kids into golfing. It's overlooked. It's a beautiful sport. Very
I
like
never
it's
really
gonna
golf myself, man.
man, it's gonna stretch your mental wellness, bro. It's gonna really see how strong you are mentally.
Because it takes a lot of preparation for that. It takes a lot of preparation for it, man. It definitely does. It's like it definitely is it's an art to it. It's a definite art. You got to practice it. It take a lot of preparation, man. It's like a definite, it's a lot of art to it.
Yeah.
I've never really golfed, to be honest, but it is something that I see like I might be interested, but it ain't hit me yet. I ain't caught the niche yet.
Yeah.
They say a lot of athletes, former athlete, you catch it, but I haven't caught it yet. But look, Rod, look, man, I enjoyed all those, kind of kick us off, but I ain't gonna take too much of your time, man. But I want to hop into just a conversation just about where you started, where the faith came into play then, and how it has impacted you thus far. So starting off, um, how was life growing up for you? Did you grow up in an environment that was simple, or did that develop a little along your journey? Like, how was your life at home in
Yeah, faith
regards to?
life.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, nah, my faith upbringing, bro. My mom was in church, 7 days a week. Yeah, so you know what I mean. So nah,
Okay.
uh, yeah, I grew up in the church. I remember times, bro. It'd be Sunday, right? And like where I live, bro, there was an apartment complex right behind my house. Okay, so
Okay.
there's like a little fence. You feel me? So as we drive in to go to my house, I see all my partners playing football already, right? On a Sunday afternoon, bro. Boom, I hop out the car, jump the fence, and go play football in my church. You know what I'm saying? In my church get up, So like
Yeah.
faith is always, yeah, bro. Faith has always been Christianity. Christianity has always been a part of my upbringing. Like I don't really remember a time where, Christianity wasn't a part of my life's upbringing, bro. And so, but for the most part, bro, it was mostly the women in my family. You know what I'm saying? Like my grandfather on my mom's side, he was heavy into the church, but for the most part, it was the women in my family that were kind of like the ones that were, you know, heavy in the faith and kind of growing us up in the faith, and teaching us how to pray and talking to us about God and those sort of things. So yeah, man, I don't ever recall a time where I felt like I didn't believe in God as the creator.
Mhm.
And I don't really remember a time where I felt like I didn't believe in the story of Jesus, right?
Mm.
Um, and then for a long time, not to make country folk, mad at me, but like, being from the country, bro, it just head knowledge. It's like God's the creator. And if you believe in the story of Jesus, like the story of Jesus is what it is, I'm gonna live my life. And then, we're gonna see when I get to the gates, how it turn out. And so, man, it wasn't until I was like 16 or 17, bro. Man, there was a tragedy, like a dude who I knew, one of his younger siblings died, bro. And
Mm.
I was like, I looked at one of my partners and I was like, bro, if we died today, dog, where we going? And we were like, bro, we're gonna go to hell, bro. We just knew what we was doing. So
Yeah.
I think that moment, man, at 16 or 17, where it kind of clicked and it was like, I have to stop trying to live off my mama prayers. I have to stop trying to live off, my grandma prayers. And then it wasn't until like 22 where I could like where my mind and my heart connected, where it was like, all right, my behavior, if what I read is true, my behavior should be changing. And so that's when I think I really started diving into the idea of, the spirit convicting me and changing me from the inside out. I think I was like 22, 23.
A lot of people, I think that's a what you mentioned. You said at like 16, you was like, hey man, if we die right now, like where we going? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And like a lot of people, they it's a guarantee that when you're dying, you're going to heaven. So they constantly
Yeah,
living in that, constantly living in the same sin, thinking that they're gonna reap the same reward, and that
for sure.
ain't how life goes. That ain't how God works. That ain't how Jesus works, right? Like God is Jesus. So if you
Yeah,
really are trying to be and become, is you have to start living how He says that you're gonna live, because that's the only way into the kingdom is through Him. So if He's telling
yeah,
you to do this, He's telling you to do that, keep my commands, live a certain way, be righteous, you know, all of these things, and you constantly being a person of pride, you constantly being a person of, being an adulterer, you're constantly being a person just constantly willingly and openly just falling into sin and not really trying to change any type of really renewing your mind and then your heart, you know, he really, why you feel like you automatically get that. Like it's very important that, it's dope that you at that age was able to realize that, because people today, grown folk, they don't even they don't even know. They take it forever to realize it. So it's like, you know, it's dope. So when you begin to feel like you have, you say you've always been a believer, but it was at that age that you was like, okay, if I die today, I'm gonna go to hell.
yeah.
What about your action? And you and pleasing to yourself. What changed for you?
Can you repeat that question?
What, like at 16, right? You said that, when the person died, that it made you think like, oh man, if we die today, or whatever that situation was, if we died today, are we going to, we're going to hell?
Yeah,
Or 22, you mentioned that, I think you said that that's when it matched, and you started to transition and live differently. What about your actions? What changed about you during that time? What exactly did you start doing?
yeah.
Maybe improve your spirit. What about you changed?
Yeah, I think I started. So when I was at the college, right? When I was at the school, really speaking prophetically to me, right? Because they enjoyed seeing my ability to be personable, right? But how I was using that ability was to party. And so they continue to use the word like leader, like you're a leader. And I never really looked at it from a spiritual component. I never really looked at what they were saying as spiritual. And so I think once I started having more conversations with them and being, naked, right? Like very vulnerable with them, and then them being vulnerable with me, I think that allowed me to say, okay, my behavior isn't pleasing to God, that doesn't mean that God's not going to show favor on my life. It just means that my behaviors are not pleasing to God. And long story short, I had lost the ability to, in my opinion, I had lost the ability to glorify God with the gift God had given me earlier in my life by not taking by like not taking the classroom serious in high school. And so I don't think that I wanted to, I think it clicked. Like, I don't want to lose the ability to minister to people because I'm not taking what these people are saying serious. So let me sit down and let me talk to them, and let me dive into their minds of what they're talking about and why they feel that way about me, right? And then see if I can come to that same conclusion, right? Because I think there was just, bro, I think the spirit is on you way before you can ever really comprehend why people may be like why you may be magnetic.
Hmm. For sure. Exactly.
I think it was adding them into my inner circle is when I took the dive deeper into my faith.
Deep. No, that's big time, man. Because like you mentioned, like, the spirit is on you. Like people gravitating towards you. It's like, like people can feel it's infectious, right? It's that gravitation. You're like magnetic.
Yeah.
People. You walk into a room, it lights up. And you're like, what? I feel like I'm good,
Yeah.
but what is it about me that makes people just gravitate towards me? And that's what you mentioned, like, the spirit. And you feel like that is essentially your calling. You said that people were calling you a leader. So what exactly do you feel like your calling or maybe your ministry is? Do you feel like that's a part of it?
Man, you good question, bro. I, I think that
Mm.
and so I think that I don't know my calling.
Mm.
I don't know. I've done vocational ministry. It wasn't for me. To seduce me into believing that if if I'm if I'm on fire for the Lord and I'm articulate, then I should do vocational ministry.
And
And
it
I
wasn't
was
for you.
like, man, it went, no, it's not for me. You
Yeah.
know, there's so many, there's so much that I've experienced. Like I said at the beginning, when I first started, I never really feel special, bro. I feel like people just don't get the opportunity to meet other people where I'm from. Like, if people got the chance to meet more people, like where I'm from, like, I would feel normal, you know? Like, it
Mm.
would, people would be like, oh yeah, right? But people just don't get a chance to meet people where I'm from. So I think I live with that mentality, bro, versus like a calling, dog. Because I think all of our calling as believers is to minister to the rest of the world who aren't believers, right? And to be in community with people who are believers. Like, that's our calling, is to be fishermen of men, you know?
Mm.
And so I think I live out my calling by the different ventures I've, chosen to be a part of.
Deep.
Or,
And when you
or
talk
I guess I live out the calling. You know what I'm saying?
right, and when you talk about being the one that essentially it's almost like everybody is here to share their testimony and continue to add on to it and to build upon it and being able to share that back to almost to bring the glory to God, right?
Yeah.
That's really like it's like that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
like what it what do you feel like so for you to be able to lead, that means you have to have people that follow or you had that gravitation, you had that influence, right?
Yeah.
So in an adverse moment or when you've experienced adversity, how did you overcome that adversity? And were you able to continue to be that same leader, or did you have to lean on your faith and let that lead you? Or what was it?
Man, so many different times. I've leaned in, I've cowered out. I've done all of those things. I think adversity for me, um, most of the time when I feel adversity, I lean into the truths that God has, what is written about who God is, right?
Okay.
Um,
And what is that, you think?
yeah. So, man, sometimes I be having deep conversations every now and then. Not all the time, bro, but every now and then, right? Like, okay, so like for real, like,
Absolutely.
man, how I be processing information, dog, is like, okay, I'm audible, right? Like I'm an audible learner, um, and I like to speak more than write. And
Hmm.
I think a lot about when I've researched or learned about, you know, the people who God would have chosen to be his chosen people, right? They were very visual. Okay. So, like, um, inanimate objects were a large part of how they felt God's presence, right? Like, God is rock. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Yeah.
Okay.
Like, stronghold, right? God is shelter. Um, like, and I think that's how I process the information, like that truth that I am,
Mm.
right? Like, I think it's very important, bro. That phrase, bro, is so important to me because in America, because I ain't been nowhere else, so I can't speak about nowhere else, dog.
No.
In America, we put labels on that, right? So we use the term I am. And so it's so watered down to us to think about like the idea that God would have said, I am who I am, right? Like I am, like I exist in this way. And so like I think that I process it that way in the truth of God, that God is rock. You know what I mean? So that God is steady, that God is immovable, um, that God is forever present, right? Like that God is a covering, so a shelter, that God, um, that God is the foundation, right? So that God is
Hmm.
the floor. You know what I'm saying? So God is my roof, and God is my floor, and God is my walls. And so like in those moments when I'm facing adversity, instead of looking at it like, oh, God is love, and that's so like, okay, that's so intangible. You know what I'm saying? I can't touch it, I can't feel it. It's like, man, God is the wall. Like I can touch the wall. right? I can feel the wall, I can see the wall. And so it brings me back to the, like God is stairs. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, there's sometimes in life where you have to struggle to feel God's.
Absolutely.
How to take something visible and make it meaningful, to God's character. You know what I mean? And how they wrote poetically about God's character in that way to kind of, because then they could experience it. You see what I'm saying? So we have to, I think we have to say like God is an Audi. You know what I'm saying? Like God is Tesla. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Nah,
not to be, not to get too, you know what I'm saying? Not
that's
to get,
real though.
but like, that just the idea, man, like God is our security, our comfort. God is our love, but those things, man, what's security and what's comfort when you're not secure?
For sure.
Like what is that? Well, even if you don't have a home, like a roof is comforting. Like that, even if you don't have it in that moment. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think that's what I mean when I say that.
No, absolutely. But and what you're saying though, it requires that shift in mindset though. Like it's like everybody uh doesn't have that mind. How did you adopt that type of mind and thought processes? Like in your darkest moments, how did that mindset propel you or get you through it? What was
Yeah.
your darkest moment if you could remember or recall it? And
Yeah.
where was your mindset? Where was your thought process in regards to the walls, the foundation, the ceiling?
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah,
Speak
man.
to me.
Man, good question. I think my darkest moment, bro, probably when I was 18. Um, and I think I had lived my whole life as a facade because I never did the work.
Mm,
Like I never did the work, bro, to get or to earn what was presented in front of me, right? So I used to tell people, I remember telling people like, bro, I don't lift weights, bro, because this is God given. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all boys gotta work out, y'all gotta run, like y'all gotta do all that because like y'all ain't get this. You know what I'm saying? Bro, I'm average. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm really average, dog. You feel me? I'm probably above average. I probably was above
yeah,
average. But
yeah.
I never got to be great because I
Mm,
didn't put in the work, bro. Because so I remember telling people, like, if God doesn't want me to have this gift, he'll take it away from me. I remember saying that, like, I remember that, bro. And because I was always thinking physical. I lose a limb or I get injured, some like life altering physical ailment, right? And
mm-hmm.
it was my own choices. It was just an accumulation of my own choices was how God presented taking the gift away from me, right? And that's when I was faced with I had never seen my life outside of football. Like I had built my whole identity around being a football player. So I didn't even know what it would look like not to play ball. I had
Crazy.
I couldn't never dreamed
Absolutely.
about it,
A lot of
never
athletes
thought about it.
like
And so
that.
I think,
Absolutely.
you know, a year after finding out, I couldn't sign on signing day and I was still living, dog. I think in my mind it clicked. I'm here for a bigger reason, bro. When I go to college my freshman year and I don't play ball, but I still make good friends that I still have to this day, and we still vibing, and we still influential on campus.
Mm-hmm.
I think in my mind I was like, oh, this ain't got nothing to do with ball. This just
Bigger
me.
than that. Just you.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like what I
You.
possess has nothing to do with football. And if I could have opened my mind to it earlier, I probably would have been in a different place. But I'm so thankful that it happened because I'm like, oh, I got it. I didn't deserve to be there. Not that I didn't mean to be there, right? I think sometimes, once again, bro, not to get on tangent, right?
No, you
But
it's
but look,
all
I
good.
think sometimes people
This
be
is good.
using
It's
it,
good.
cuz I think sometimes
It's
people be
good.
using it, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, when God talked to Moses,
Mm.
right?
Okay.
Shawty had said, "Hey, I'm taking you and your folks to the promised land." So that means
Oh,
that Shawty was supposed to go.
absolutely.
Okay, well, everybody tripping. Bruh can't keep it in the road, right? Bruh not
Absolutely.
do, bruh not doing his part by making them realize, hey, God doing this for us. Y'all tripping. Calm down, bro. Let's go this way. Y'all tripping, right? So then he didn't get there.
Absolutely.
But bro was supposed to go there.
It was there for him.
It was there for him. So I think sometimes we might be like, oh, it wasn't meant to be. Like, nah, a series of your actions is the
Actions.
reasons why you're not there. So
Absolutely.
I got that, right? I processed that information. This ain't no, I could have been there. I seen the
Right.
path, bro. I seen the road. I could have told you how I was gonna get there. Okay, I'm a red shirt. I'm gonna do 4 years here. I'm gonna get drafted in the 6th round. You know what I'm saying? I'm still gonna be
Right.
running the
Right.
4.8. I'm gonna be 190. Like I had seen that.
Right.
That was nothing new to me. You know what I'm saying? I knew what school that I wanted to go to. So like I knew all this information and it was all stacking up. So it wasn't like it was impossible. It wasn't something that was impossible. I wasn't living in a fantasy about this. Nah, this is touchable. This is reachable. Shout it. Like get on top of the mountain and look, home. You know what I'm saying? Look at what you'll
Right.
never get to, bro. You know? And this is because you allowed this to happen. You feel me? Right? So I think I had those kind of moments. And so, when I was a year, removed from it and I was still living, I think that was really big for me to be like, okay, there's more to me in life than ball. So then when I got the opportunity to get back into ball, I felt able to glorify God through ball because it was no longer my Lord. Like ball was no longer my God. I just I was just talented. You know what I'm saying? I just skilled at it. So it was like, bet, like I want to do it. But it was no longer my
Right.
God. I had the ability to walk away at any moment from it. And I think that's when I kind of realized how to see God in God's fullness about who God has created you to be. And I think that goes back to kind of like the calling. Like God put the spirit that is dwelling within this human flesh is beyond a sport, and it's beyond a series of decisions, and it's beyond uh, circumstances that I was born into and adversities that I faced. The spirit is connected to the creator.
For sure.
Intelligence, but it's because of God's favor.
Absolutely. Deep. Deep. That's deep, brother. And what like and what you're alluding to, it goes with our final with focus. Because what you kind of, I mean, essentially, like again, how you think, and the mentality that have to possess as you go, along your daily walk, along that journey. It's there for you. The path is there. It's not all about, it wasn't meant to be. Well, some of your actions, but at the end of the day, he does continue to have a plan for each and every one of us, right? He does have that. And at the end of the day, it's up to us to make the decision, to follow it, to acknowledge it, to believe it, and continue to live it out. what exactly? I'm gonna share the final focus right now on the screen and kind of just let you after that. It's very short. Nothing. Nothing can allow you to share your thoughts on it and how you feel like the mentality, um, and those things may relate to where you are, where you're going, and maybe back in the day. But here we go. Let me share it for you. And
if the lion is the king of the jungle, how can he be the king of the jungle?
Boy, that's why I laugh.
If he's not the biggest, the elephant is probably one of the biggest. He can't be the fastest because that's a cheetah. He can't be the smartest. So he's not the biggest, the fastest, or the smartest. So how does a lion become the king of the jungle? His mentality. That's the only difference of a lion and an elephant. When a lion walks up and sees an elephant, he thinks lunch. An elephant thinks run. And it's all mentality. Because when a male lion walks up, he may be outnumbered by a pack of hyenas, but I'm king of my jungle because of my mentality.
You know, there are American heroes who don't like this idea. Neil Armstrong, Gene Cernan have both testified against commercial space flight and the way that you're developing it. And I wonder what you think of that.
I was very sad to see that because those guys are, but those guys are very smart, so it's really tough.
They inspired you to do this, didn't they?
Yes.
When you had that third failure in a row, did you think, I need to pack this in?
Never.
Why not?
I would never give up.
So, right, you heard your boy, you saw your boy. Hey,
Yeah.
Man, I was like, isn't that ironic, brother? But mentality, never giving up, having a line mentality. How do you feel like that is played in your life, and allowed you to be the man you are today, and will continue forward? You can follow that up.
I think that a couple of things, right? A couple of things.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, is the lion the king of the jungle or the safari? What's
it? That's a good question.
Yeah.
You asking?
Yeah. Is there a difference? There's a difference.
I think so.
Yeah. Lions live in safari, ain't it?
They do.
Yeah. Hey,
He the king of the safari.
My dog. Hey, they king of the safari, and Tiger's king of the jungle.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know, Anyways, but listen, because I love that video. You know what I mean? And I love the idea that lions are the king of the jungle. But man, one of my homeboys, he talk about that a lot. Like, is the lion living in safari. But that's neither here nor there. There's a couple of things, man. A couple of things. There's a quote, it's actually a rap lyric, and the rapper said, the only difference between a winner and a loser is a winner doesn't give up until they win. Okay. And then somebody else who came on the scene as a rapper, but now as a business mogul, he said he doesn't understand losing. He only understands fighting until he wins. And I think that in America, the Christ that we received was very passive. I feel like we received a very passive Christ, but I just don't believe that you could be passive when you're in the face of adversity, of like when you really look in and see how wild and like ruthless Romans were, bro. Bro, you can't be soft, dog. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get ate up. So I think that we live in a place where aggression is harmful, right? And so I think that's the kind of, we talk about it a lot when I coach, controlled aggression. And really that's what the lion has, dog. Bro, the lion's calm before they strike.
Very calm.
Very calm. This isn't an over, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Dog, that animal's calm. That animal knows what's about to happen.
Absolutely.
I'm about to devour
this
other animal. And I think when we understand that Christ understood, I'm about to devour Satan, cuz
Satan, it's over for him.
It's over for bro. He don't even know it yet.
He don't even know it. I got the ultimate chess move.
I'm about to smash, bro. I think if we can understand that, dog, it's controlled aggression. It's knowing when to strike. That's why I can be king. Because I've already studied you. I bet. Okay, you got this much space. It's 15 of y'all. Okay, I only need one.
That's it.
I don't need 15. I only need one. And so I think a lot of times we get caught up in, oh, I didn't get this job, or I didn't get that job, or I didn't get this promotion. Well, you only need one.
Deep. For sure.
Moses went to Pharaoh a whole lot of times. And then God said, hey, do this. And then some magicians did it. So they're like, bro, come on, stop playing. We can do that. So, bro, this happened so many times before God was like, okay, got it. Okay, we got him now.
Deep.
Now let's push the button. You know what I'm saying? But if Moses would have had the like, oh man, they can do it too. You feel me? If he would have had that mentality, oh man, they can do it too. Like, God, who are you? They can do the same thing you telling me to do.
Right.
If he would have had that mentality, right? If he would have had the thought pattern of just because I'm put in a position and I'm not where I want to be, if he had that thought pattern, or if he would have stayed in that thought pattern, he wouldn't have been able to then go back to Pharaoh and say, okay, now this time this is what's gonna happen to you. Okay. And now you gonna let us go. Right. And so I think that when I look at that kind of idea of never giving up, I look at it from the idea of we have to live in a constant reminder that God has already won. And I believe that we live in a first down mentality, not a touchdown mentality. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Like, sure, bro, you can drive the ball 75 yards, and now you got 5. But you can't score. You know what I'm saying? But you can't score.
You leaving field goals.
Baby, we can live with that all day, you know? And so I think that when we live life, understanding the truths of God, and that God has already won, and that the Spirit lives within us, and that the Spirit will consistently guide us to a place of victory, then I think, well, that's when we get to the Lions mentality. That's when we get to the never give up mentality, because it's not even my power anyways.
It ain't.
He already said it. It ain't the lion's speed that the elephant's afraid of. You know what I'm saying? It's not the lion's intelligence that the elephant is afraid of. It's the lion's ability to never give up that the elephant has fear of. If I get caught, it's over. You know what I'm saying? It's over. And so I think we have to, think about that type of process. One day it's going to be over.
Mm-hmm.
And they used to sing songs, bro, in the church that I grew up in. Weeping may endure for night, but joy comes in the morning. Bro, that don't mean tomorrow.
It don't.
That ain't, you know what I'm saying? That ain't tomorrow. But when and how long will you sit in the idea, in the uncomfortableness of tomorrow's going to come?
Mm-hmm.
Man, the lion might lay in the grass about 2-3 hours.
Just waiting.
Real slow, prowling. It's going to come a time when we can make this thing shake. And so I think, when I see those kind of videos, man, that's what I think about, like really understanding God's victory, and that, man, Jesus devoured Satan. Came here knowing it. Wasn't passive about it.
And fire it up, man. That was the final focus for this evening. Man, that was, hey, you nailed it home, brother. If you want to close with you can. That was probably like, everything I kind of had the evening, but I do want to allow you the opportunity to say any, your final encouragement.
Yeah, I just encourage all of us to live a life that is pleasing to God by our faithfulness, even in the times where we have doubt, even in the times where we are struggling. I think that for most of us, our faith can be shaken when things don't go right for us.
Absolutely.
And so I would just encourage us to not look at the faith as right or wrong, but as a journey, and as you're being sanctified and really purified to be present with the Lord, understand that mountains will show up.
Oh, deep. Tom, Rod. Look, you all appreciate y'all checking us out this evening. Y'all support this brother, his ministry, as well as his nonprofit. Rod, talk a little bit about that before we get off as well. Talk a little about the work you're doing around your area too before we close. I'm gonna let you get that in as well.
Hey, I appreciate that. Hey, shameless plug. So I founded a nonprofit, Team Health Sports, and we aim to impact high school student athletes to the do everything with full speed, do everything with effort and energy as much as possible, right? But understand that life is more than just the sport that you play, and really, develop and learn how to do that. And so a lot of what I do is emotional intelligence. I think that is kind of the breeding ground for us to understand more about who we are and why we are the way we are. And so, at Team Health Sports, we do captains trainings and meetings. We do one-to-one mentoring, and we do peer mediation for high school student athletes. And so we just partner with high school athletic departments, people who really want their student athletes to grow in mental wellness and athletic performance. We partner in that way to be a support and a service for those student athletes.
Absolutely. And that's spelled what? You tell them where they can find y'all.
Yeah, man, www.teamhealthsports.org. And then you'll see an email, info@teamhealthsports. So we do speaking engagements around mental wellness and athletic performance. And we also do the year, the yearly partnership with high schools. And so, if anyone's listening, they're an athletic director, or, if you're a coach and you feel like your student athletes would benefit from just learning more about emotional intelligence and just learning more about how to be more holistic in their approach to life, please don't wait to contact us. We would love to be partnering with you in that way.
Absolutely. Man, Rod, thank you again, man. I thank you all for checking us out this evening. As always, pay forward, keeping the main thing the main thing. Until next time, God bless y'all. Peace.
Always L's.